Have you ever had your probation officer ask you for your dealer's number? I'd been on probation for 6 months when Officer Ramirez sat across from me during our monthly check-in and asked the question that changed everything. Listen, I need your old dealer's contact info. I nearly choked on my coffee. After 2 years of sobriety and 6 months of clean drug tests, this felt like a sick joke. Was this some kind of twisted sting operation? I'm not trying to trick you, she said, seeing my panic. My nephew is dying. Ramirez had been my PO since I got caught with possession 3 years ago. She was tough but fair, never let me skip a meeting, never let me make excuses. She'd seen me through withdrawal, relapse, and finally getting clean. Now she was asking me to give her access to the world she'd spent months helping me escape. Her nephew, Alejandro, had stage 4 pancreatic cancer, 23 years old, given 2 months to live. The pain was unbearable, but his doctors were terrified of prescribing adequate pain medication because of the opioid crisis. They had him on doses that barely touched his agony, worried about addiction in a kid who wouldn't live long enough to get addicted. He can't sleep, can't eat, just lies there crying, Ramirez said, her professional composure cracking. His mother has to listen to her baby scream in pain all night. The doctors say they're doing all they can, but they're not. They're covering their own asses while he suffers. I understood the desperation. My own mother had died of cancer when I was 15. The memory of her final weeks, begging for relief that never came, was what started my own spiral into substance abuse. But giving a probation officer my dealer's information? That was insanity. You know what you're asking me to do could send me back to prison, I said carefully. Even having that contact information could violate my probation. I know exactly what I'm asking, she replied. I've spent 20 years putting people in jail for this, but I've also spent the last week watching my sister hold her son while he begs to die because the pain is too much. The dealer she wanted to reach was Tommy, but he'd gone underground after a major bust last year. I deleted his number the day I got serious about recovery, but I knew people who knew people. The recovery community is weird like that. Everyone's connected to their past even when they're trying to escape it. I spent 3 days wrestling with the decision. On one hand, Ramirez had been nothing but supportive of my recovery. She'd written letters to help me get my job back, vouched for me when I applied for housing assistance. On the other hand, this could destroy everything I'd built. If anyone found out I'd helped a probation officer buy illegal drugs, I'd be finished. Finally, I made a compromise. I wouldn't give her Tommy's number, but I'd reach out to a different contact, someone who specialized in pain management for terminal patients. Not a dealer exactly, more like an underground pharmacist who'd lost his license for being too compassionate with prescriptions. His name was Garrett, and he'd helped my mother in her final days when I was too young to find help myself. I met Ramirez at a diner outside the city, away from cameras and other officers. I slid her a piece of paper with instructions, not a phone number, but a process. Garrett didn't work through phones anymore, too traceable. Instead, there was a specific bulletin board at a community college where you could leave coded messages. This isn't what you asked for, I told her, but it's safer for everyone. He only helps terminal patients, and he's careful. No fentanyl, no stepped-on product, just clean pain management for people the system has failed. She took the paper with shaking hands. If anyone finds out about this, they won't from me, I assured her. And Garrett survived 15 years doing this without getting caught. He's more careful than any legitimate pharmacy. 2 weeks later, at our next official meeting, Ramirez was different. The dark circles under her eyes had faded slightly. When she drug tested me as required, she actually smiled when it came back clean. Keep up the good work, she said formally. Then quietly, she added, Alejandro slept through the night yesterday. First time in months. We never spoke about it directly again, but something shifted between us. She stopped treating me like just another addict on her caseload and started seeing me as a person who'd made bad choices but wasn't defined by them. When my probation ended early for good behavior, she wrote a glowing recommendation letter that helped me get into nursing school. Alejandro died 4 months after our diner meeting. Ramirez took a week off for the funeral. When she came back, she found me in the waiting room for what would have been my check-in if I was still on probation. I handed her a sympathy card and a photo I'd kept of my mother from her good days. Thank you, she said simply, for everything. I'm a registered nurse now, working in palliative care. I specialize in pain management for terminal patients, making sure no family has to choose between watching their loved ones suffer and breaking the law. Ramirez still sends me a Christmas card every year. She never signs it, but I recognize her handwriting. Inside, it always says the same thing, still clean, and I always text back 5 years and counting.